Yeah.
Place is probably.
All right,
I'm surprised
I call this meeting of the Sustainable Rocky Hill Task Force to order. I see some new faces here, so I'll just briefly introduce the task force. We're a bunch of residents appointed by the town for the purpose of advising the town on how to be more sustainable. There's a framework that we use provided by Sustainable CT that the town is doing actions and getting certification into this framework. So we advise the town on how they can best be more sustainable, and we also educate residents on sustainability activities. And this is our monthly meeting where we get together and tell each other what's going on and what we're doing. I will start with the roll call and rapidly move through the first early actions and then move to public comment. So, roll call. Alan Baglia.
Present.
Ed Ciccarello.
Here.
Derek Kalin is myself, and I am present. Robert Downs. Here. Saima Kosar is not present, but we expect her. And Haritha Nagabandi is not present, and we do not expect her because she is on vacation. But we have a quorum. Moving straight from there to appointments and resignations. There are none to my knowledge, hopefully. There are none, so we can move on there.
Derek, did you want to, weren't you talking about a potential appointment?
Yes, and that's on the agenda. At the end, propose SRH candidates to the town council. So we'll get to that at the tail end. So with that, I'm going to open the floor to public comments. So this is an open and, as you can see, really informal session. I invite anybody who wants to talk about sustainability, make a request, give an update, to feel free to do so. I'm hopeful that we can have about 10, maybe 15 minutes tops dedicated to this, since we have a packed agenda.
Can I just prompt Michelle,
Sure.
who we invited, who might tell us a little bit about the project that she'd like to discuss, the Girl Scouts Camp. So leave it to you to flesh that out, or broad strokes, whatever you feel comfortable with.
All right, well, this is my first meeting, and I'm personally interested in this initiative outside of the Girl Scouts, and I've been to, in my professional capacity, Sustainable CT events. I went to the one they had in Glastonbury just a couple months ago, which was incredible. So I'd really love to know more about what you're doing in the town, because I'm personally interested in that, and then I'd be happy to update on the Girl Scout project.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, so after the public comment section, like item 6 on our agenda, which I can share a copy with you here, this agenda will go through, there'll be a report from me, the chair, saying, okay, these are the things that are going on, and then each of these items represents like tasks that we're taking on. I know you have an early away, so I'll give a high-level summary, which is that we use the Sustainable CT framework, and that is very broad. And if you've been to the events, you know there's everything from green energy to equity to composting to recycling. The focus of the team right now, we have an action going on with equity, where we're working with the Commission on Inclusion and Integrity innovation to pass an equity statement. We're doing a lot of work about promoting other forms of transportation, including biking and pedestrian walkways. We're going to be talking a little bit about clean energy and promoting solar power and things like that at the town level, enhancing pollinator pathways, composting, quite a bit going on that front. And then we have actions on affordable housing. But that's just a sampling of the broad total overview. And I'd love to get you involved in whatever way you'd be interested.
Okay, thank you. I don't mean to commandeer the meeting
No.
the agenda in any way. Just wanted to learn more.
Sure.
So for Girl Scout Troop 10246, I am the assistant troop leader of that troop. Have been working with Amber Tucker for quite a few years with that troop. It's a group of ladies that are about to enter their freshman year of high school at Lady Ho High School.
Welcome. Have a seat.
And they had been working on a project to earn their silver badge. And this project requires a significant community service project, something that's meant to, kind of make a difference in the long term, not just sort of like a one-time event. And so we had reached out to Ed in the spring and brainstormed some different ideas. And what we ended up deciding on was to create sort of like a walking tour of Quarry Park. And, you know, we had gone through the park with Ed, we had looked at what was already there, the signage, and the girls had come up with the idea of creating a PowerPoint presentation and using QR codes and maybe printing up like these sort of plastic or metal, whatever makes the most sense, signs at certain points through Quarry Park. So it could be like a self-guided walking tour. There's other parks in Connecticut that have sort of a similar model. It will help to highlight sort of both the history of Quarry Park as well as sort of the natural beauty of the park and some you know, highlights of it. So we did that initial walkthrough. The girls have accessed information from the Rocky Hill Historical Society as well as other online resources. They have begun to build a PowerPoint presentation. We went back through again and we took new pictures of everything in bloom. So we have our own pictures. We're not using other pictures that were available online. It was really very interesting to walk through again, especially with everything in bloom. And so now we're just doing the finishing touches on the presentation and trying to figure out, all right, what areas do we want to highlight? What's the information we want to match up with it? And like I said, just putting the finishing touches. And once we know that, we'll be able to determine exactly how many of these sort of tags. And they're not huge. They're like very small, and I'll have a QR code so anybody who's walking through can take a snapshot of it. One of the things that we're considering is figuring out some sort of map or trail that matches up with what's in Quarry Park, because we actually got a little lost while we were going through it.
Yep.
So we haven't quite figured that out. We also want to highlight, you know, the birds that are in the park and some of the other really interesting nature information. So we're in the process of putting the finishing touches on the slide deck, and then once we know how many tags we need, we will work to fundraise to produce those tags, and then probably come back and reach out to you, Ed, to figure out where it makes sense to put these throughout the park. I think one of the highlights of this is that they're small, so it's not likely for them to be spray painted all over, and it's really kind of optional. People are very much used to like scanning a QR code and what's this interesting thing, and it will get them directly to the slide with pictures, past, present, and information of what people are looking at. So that's the project, and that's where we're at.
Cool. So how can we help? I heard that you're interested in making a map, that you're interested in fundraising. Do you need support on these things, or?
So once the girls finish the slide deck, and right now it's between 20 and 30 slides, you know, we want them to, because it's very much what they need to do. So we want them to put the finishing touches on it, and then we'll figure out exactly how many tags. We have priced out the tags. It's looking to be relatively inexpensive, maybe just a couple $100s to produce these tags. And then we'll have to figure out how to get them up in a more permanent way throughout Quarry Park. But we'd certainly love the feedback of anybody who's got a lot of information about Quarry Park to make sure that the information is current, accurate, and so forth.
Cool.
Can I just jump in for 1 sec? My name is Jason Scott. I'm the staff liaison to this task force, and I work in the engineering department, so I'd be happy to prepare a map for you. That'd be really easy. I can set something up, send it to you, let you take a look and see if that's the area that you're interested in, and I can modify it to suit your needs, give you something digital as well as something paper form, whatever you need. So I'll leave a card for you.
Okay, wonderful.
You can
Thank
reach
you
out.
so much. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I just want to, for everyone's knowledge, there's a CT Action 4.1 map tourism and cultural assets that we could possibly tie this to.
Yeah.
Helps if we're going to create an action or take action on something. It helps that it's tied back to something, and whether it's perfect or not, but we could at least strive for that.
Sure.
And just to add that the parsonage shortcut on Quarry Park, I have pretty good knowledge that not everybody knows that's public access. It doesn't really look like it. So what you're doing is going to also create, the odd traveler through Quarry Park will see a QR, and that QR might say you can get to Old Main Street by going up this hill. So I think it's a great idea all around.
One of the things we had difficulty is there was a reference to caves, like a cave there, and we couldn't find it. We tried looking through
I've seen the caves.
You have seen the caves?
Super creepy.
I had no idea that there were caves.
There are references to it in other people's blog posts and things like that.
Yeah, well,
We could
great.
find it.
It's sort of like that QR could be like, go up there could be kind of a cautionary tale. Because it's not a
Don't
real.
go here.
It's kind of a hike up there. You don't just walk up there. You kind of go up, kind of boulder up there. But that's the thank you.
Are
So-
you gonna also include the graffiti area? It's like, it's more of a street art, it's really cool, but
It's incredible.
hopefully no one sprays over it too much.
We took pictures of it, and I think the pictures came out really well. I mean, it is graffiti and
It's
sort of
fun.
like, you know, a park area, but
Yeah.
it did look like art the way that we got the pictures, so, you know, I think we can make it work,
Well,
that it doesn't.
Sorry, there are historic photos, and Ed would attest to this, of what those arches did function as.
Mhm.
So if the QR can point to that, it's like it's ruins, but it's also ruins that show that it was a functioning quarry. And here's what these arches did with I don't know what.
So to add to all this, you know, I think we want to support it regardless of whether it fits in the framework. Like Alan said, it sounds to me like it does, and we can do a little bit of extra digging there. As far as fundraising is concerned, Sustainable CT has a community match fund. It's kind of a crowdfunding platform where if the community contributes, then they match the funds 1-to-1.
Oh,
So,
okay, that's great to know.
maybe we could collaborate in that way as well. So I can make that an action item for me to see if we can fit this in to our framework and we can support the crowdfunding.
Okay, it's wonderful. We were thinking about getting, you know, some brownies and cookies ahead of the Girl Scout cookie season, of course. You know,
I mean, that's a
so we're doing
motivator,
that.
for sure. Well, really cool. Thank you so much for bringing this forward.
Are we gonna go around and, I'd like. a
Yeah,
couple-
please.
So two things, have you talked with Craig at the Parks and Rec yet?
Not about this project, about the bridge, but not about this project.
Okay, so you want to touch base with him, because anything that
Mhm.
happens in the parks needs to go through Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And secondly, I think before you get to a final on your slides, I think it'd really be good if you and I and the girls went over it. I just want to make sure, I know we've done signs, the Historical Society has done signs and around Academy Hall. We're going to be doing them all around the town center. And it took us a real long time and many, many, many edits. So I want to make sure we got all the facts
Okay.
and, you know, we'll get the girls working.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds good.
That's the goal. So I'm really glad you came.
Yes, thank you very much.
And just before I move on, can I get your name?
Oh, I go by Kat
K-A-T?
Yep.
And can you get his last name?
Brand, Brand.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
Other public comment? Questions or comments? Mary Beth?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the composting situation.
Please.
That I know that you know, and you probably are going to talk about it tonight, the crowdfunding for the Blue Earth composting. But in addition to that, I got some help from Ed, you know, maybe a little, just on how to do. I'm not very good on the computer, but so I came up with this. I can give you guys a copy of it, and you might have seen it because I posted it as a link on the Sustainable Community website. Did anybody see it?
Oh.
On the website or the
Yeah, I saw
Facebook
it.
page?
I mean, on the Facebook page. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
that was
sorry.
a great job.
Yeah, thank you. And it was just to give people the three options that exist today.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, you know, no one's reached out to me. I put my name at the bottom because it's kind of an independent effort to not compete with the Sustainable, but to.
It's complimentary.
Yes, exactly. We're trying to do it both ways, you know, however we could get it started. But I did get a response from Sam King about it, and because he said he had about 30 people that showed interest in getting the Blue Earth curbside service, but they need 50 in order to come to town. And so I had a list of the people who attended the Trash Talk with Carrie Wood event, and we had about 17 people on the list. And I haven't reached out to them yet, but I was gonna send them this form here, just showing the various options. And, but in terms of, and I also asked Sam if he could give me the 30 names he has, and then I could reach out as a resident of Rocky Hill to see if they had any questions. But he said, no, that's kind of a private thing, but that he was gonna reach out, and I sent him a copy of what we sent out, and he said he would build that in with how he's planning to reach out to the 30 people and encourage them to maybe get their neighbors to sign up too. And we're only 20 people away.
We'll
For
do it.
$17 a month, they can come to the curb.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it's.
Is it on the new page or the old one?
July 19th.
It's the community page?
Yeah, it's on, posted on July 19th.
There used to be just one Facebook page, now
Oh,
there's
now
two.
there's
Now
one.
there's the official
Oh.
one.
What
This
we
is
wanna do is-
there's a group there that's the Rocky Hill community, which is
So I don't know
managed
which.
by members, but not
Oh, okay, so
an official presence.
what's the official one?
The official one is if you search for the Sustainable Rocky Hill Task Force,
Oh,
you will
okay,
see this.
thank you.
And it has the town logo and stuff like that,
Oh, so I posted it to the community.
which
one.
is
Which is appropriate.
appropriate,
Yeah.
which is good.
That's, yeah.
Which is all you can do, because Derek is the only one.
Actually,
Are-
we'll
are
be
you-
discussing
Are you having that on an agenda item, aren't
Yes,
you?
it
Okay,
is.
so we'll talk about that later.
So,
Um,
yeah, I haven't.
But thank you,
So
Mary
yours is
Beth.
in the group one.
It's in the community one.
Oh, yeah.
It's on July 19th. And one thing we could do, Mary Beth, is edit that so there's a visual that pops up. Right here, it has the link to the Google Drive.
Yeah.
As you're scrolling through this, there's not an image that pops up.
If you
People
know how
are
to do
liking-
that,
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Sure. We'll flag it for.
I'm
for sure.
trying to figure all this out, but.
Don't worry, what you did is great.
Yeah.
But
so
thanks
anyway.
as always for championing this, and I hope you have time to stick around to hear about the crowdfunding updates, because
Yeah.
we're going to be moving forward on that. Any other comments from the public?
I have one. How close are we to getting the grant approved for the transfer station?
The SMM grant, I could provide I'll just tell you now.
Okay.
We're still waiting.
Are we,
Yeah.
are you gonna talk about an agenda item?
I am,
Because if
yeah,
you are,
9-4.
if you are, what I would suggest is that we move, I make a motion to move agenda item 9.4 after public comment.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because it's hard to follow if you don't follow the
Correct.
agenda.
Yeah.
The action by point.
Okay.
I'll second.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Second discussion.
But they're bouncing
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none? Okay, we will move it to right after public comment.
Thank you.
And then any other comments?
I do have one regarding the neighborhood composting. Where is it?
Neighborhood composting?
Yeah.
Well, so I think the idea is that we would encourage people to set up neighborhood composting in their own neighborhood. Alan, for example, within his particular neighborhood has a compost bin, right?
I have a personal compost bin, and anyone's welcome to use it. I haven't done a ton of outreach, but I know that there are other people on Riverview, and maybe one of them that has neighbors that drop off.
Right.
So it's not like, I don't know how to put it, there's a better way to do what we're doing right now. We just have sort of like,
We haven't really done any work around it yet,
a
but,
skeleton of the
but
concept.
we're interested in promoting this idea of community composting and saying, okay, if you've got a street or a neighborhood, can you band together and agree to do this together?
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have a compost pile in your yard yet?
I don't have a yard, but I have a small tumbling composter on the deck, and that's
Okay.
about it. It can manage me and another person's scraps, and that's about it.
Well, that's great. So I have a compost bin, and I have two neighbors that use it. As Alan, I live on Riverview, and Alan said there's a woman down the street who also has 2 or 3 people that bring to her. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of grassroots movement. That's all it is. So if you're interested in neighborhood composting, talk to your neighbor. And you know what it is? It's a lot of education, because when I talked to my neighbor, I had to explain the whole scenario.
Yeah, like what can be composted, what can't be.
Yeah.
That, but also why we want to compost and redirect food scraps,
Yeah.
back into the earth.
So this is, and he mentioned the other neighbor, that's Anita, and I would give some credit to her, this is sort of her
Right.
concept, that she would ask neighbors to bring, whether it's a 5-gallon pail, just leave it at the bottom of her driveway, and she'll pick it up, she'll dump it into the bin, and then maybe over the course of month or 6 weeks, she'll bring some treated compost, bring it. So it's kind of cool that you get, and then you can top off your pots with that. You can do whatever you want with it, but it's nice that you're dropping, just like Blue Earth, you're dropping it off and you get something back. This is way, way more. Grassroots is usually an overused phrase, but I think this is truly like just grassroots neighbors, no formal organization.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Soil
the thing
level.
that's getting people though.
Soil
They're like,
level.
okay, we can do this, but where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
this is a thing where we need to do action.
Yeah.
If you contact me, I can give you my email or phone, and we can discuss it
Okay,
further
yeah.
offline.
So just as a point of order, I think, so now since we've moved on,
Yeah.
public comments closed, we're doing updates on compost. We have 12 more agenda items and we're 20 minutes into the meeting. So you might
Yes.
wanna-
So I'm seeking to close out public comment.
I think you already did that when you moved the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we were gonna talk about composting after public comment was concluded, but
That's
it seems like that's what we're doing.
That's what you did.
Okay, I see. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about 9.4, reduce and compost organic waste. There's a number of actions going on at the town level around this. We are still waiting for news from the Department of Environmental Protection and Energy, DEEP. We've submitted a proposal for a revised grant. It is currently sitting with them. We have received word that they are processing, but and I think we've answered questions, but are now still in a waiting phase. So as far as like the municipal level action to enable composting for that one neighborhood and at the transfer station, we're in a holding pattern. There are other updates around 9.4 though, that I could go into here if we're moving this up.
9.4 is a pretty major part of our agenda,
Right.
so I wouldn't rush through it.
All right, so I'll just say, like, I for all of these action items, because we need to be efficient, I request that we say, like, actions taken, what is the current status of things, and any request for action that you have, and try to limit remarks to that. As far as reduce and compost organic waste, one of the major actions that we're doing right now is a crowdfunding campaign. We have gotten access to the Sustainable CT community. It's called Patronicity. It's a crowdfunding platform. And we've reviewed a proposed script, which I thought was going to be included in the meeting packet, but I can make it available online.
Sorry.
No worries. Basically, we lay out what we've been saying for a while, that there's an environmental, an opportunity cost and a financial cost to not processing our food scraps. And we want to unlock an option for composting at the town level by working with this company, this B Corp, based out of Hartford, Blue Earth Composting. Basically, the campaign is for $2,000. And if we have that $2,000, Sustainable CT will match another $2,000 and change, and that will cover enough for 50 households within the town of Rocky Hill to have 6 months of service. The idea is that we would provide, it would be like a random drawing, so people would apply. You don't need to have contributed to the crowdfunding platform to get access to this. And then 50 households would experience 6 months of this free service, and the entire town would be unlocked. So at that point, Mary Beth, if anybody you know, or you yourself want to access this service, you can do so. Do you have a question?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, can we definitively say why we're proposing this private option insofar, to address your original question about the status of the actual grant, can we definitively say that the town is negotiating for a smaller sum of money than what was offered in the grant and is reducing the target from the whole town to a smaller group of households if it were to actually go through in the Cumberland Farms area on the west side of town? So that's the context for why we're having this alternative option.
Got it.
I don't know if that's been stated yet, so.
Bear saying, yes.
So you're basically trying to make it sound more of like a deal because you don't know when the grant's gonna be accepted, and then it's kind of a bust.
The scope of the grant will likely not be as large as we thought, in terms of the compensation for such program, a pilot program, and then the actual geographic area it would cover. So yeah, initially in like the chronology of things, Mary Beth brought up the idea of having a privately funded option, which brings us to where we are now.
Yeah.
Is that correct in saying?
Because they
I-
could run concurrently.
I'd say yes and. Like, the long-term goal, in my opinion, should be that there is a municipal option, because that will be the most effective method. Right now, we need to demonstrate that this sort of thing is viable, that like residents are interested and passionate in managing their food scraps and have the capacity to do it. And I see any pilot program done by the town or this sort of thing being a step in that direction, building a culture of composting. And then ultimately, if we're successful, there'll be a municipal option. There'll be, if people who want to can engage in a private option. People who want to can engage in a community composting option, or you can do it personally, right? And different solutions work for different people. Of course, if there's a municipal option, then the private service is not really necessary. But that's the idea here, to demonstrate a concept and to get people involved in it.
Just wanted to add, it might still be completely necessary. Some people might prefer that. They like the bins more attractive. A lot of reasons why they might want the Blue Earth for tons of reasons. And, so I wouldn't discount it as being something that it's private market. They want to have that service. Other folks might want to have municipal service. Hypothetical.
Absolutely true.
And when we're at it.
Okay, and then I'll go to my call to action.
Gotcha. Okay, so I remember way back when, during the Trash Talk, the Murph Company, they did have a pilot program, I think through Bloomfield. And they also offer the same option that Blue Earth does. And then we have another option. If they're willing to make us another smaller pilot, it might be a more sound option if we're going to use Murph anyway.
Can you say more about that? Who has another pilot?
The
option?
All-American Murph.
All-American Murph.
Yeah, they had run a pilot program with, I think, Bloomfield, if my notes are correct. So,
I thought they clarified that at the end of the meeting to say that was about recycling.
no, because they still had the small bins for recycling and the blue, no, they're the little trash bags
So
in a
as-
smaller
So,
container.
so your report is about the crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
Can we focus on the crowdfunding campaign? Do you need an action, do you need a motion tonight from us to move forward on that?
I need two things. One, I need a bank account for any crowdfunding campaign to go to. At the moment, or if not a bank account, at least an entity that is authorized to contract, to receive the funds from Sustainable CT and contract Blue Earth Composting. Jason, I'm looking at you. Have we heard anything from Mona?
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get a chance to send that over to her.
Okay.
That would be great if the town would want to take that on. That would be, I think, the simplest solution. But I need to sit down with her, explain everything, show her everything, so that she gets familiar with this, because her knowledge on the subject might be very limited. I know mine is.
Yep.
So I wanted to piece together everything for her, and it just, over these last 4 weeks, there just hasn't been a chance to sit down with her.
Totally understand.
Yeah, it's no excuse, but.
No. It makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't want her to be surprised. I want her to have all the facts and let her review it, see what she thinks.
I
And
will
if not,
s-
then know what else we can do, because she may have some suggestions too,
So I will say, I have talked to Lori Stanzik, who ran another composting campaign for the town that was around getting the compost bins at the IFPG. And she said that the town provided a general funds line item, or a general fund solution. So maybe we could use them as a model, and we can discuss that with Mona. Secondly, there's something of a ticking clock. In order to access the 1.5 match, we need to launch the campaign by August 12th. I've been told that there may be some flexibility around that, but August 12th is the current deadline. So if possible, I'd like to get a go-no-go on that. What I would like is a motion for me to proceed with the crowdfunding campaign that I shared via email, and I'm sorry you don't see the script right now, but I would like a motion to actually proceed if we can get the financials taken care of.
So I'll make a motion for Derek to move the crowdfunding campaign forward with the understanding that Jason will connect with Mona to research and hopefully solve our bank account needs.
Second.
Second.
Any
Discussion?
discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Thank you very much. So that's 9.4. With that in mind, at this point I go back to the regular order, right?
Yeah.
So we're on 5.
Number 5, yeah.
Actions taken, minutes for approval. We all received a copy of the minutes. Do I hear a motion regarding these minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes
Second.
from May 22nd, excuse me, June
Oh,
22nd.
Discussion.
Yeah, just as a quick comment on them, all the revisions are implemented. Like I said, I just didn't do the formatting one, but for tonight, I'll go ahead with the revised format.
Not on, this is a general comment just on the minutes online. There are no minutes on our website
Yeah.
now, so I know we're creating minutes, but they need to be on demand.
Sure.
And there's nothing under packet as well.
Yep.
The agenda is there, but minutes and packet. And the other thing that they have is actions taken, which is also a very good thing because then you don't have to read through the minutes to find out what actions were taken. So
Mhm.
just wanted to note that. Thank you.
Thank you.
That can get resolved.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, discussion. I'm sorry. Can I have a vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor? Yes, great. Opposed? None? It passes. All right, report from the task force chair. So let me direct your attention to the screen over there. And could we scroll down just a tiny bit? Thank you. All right, so this is a visualization of our progress as a task force towards certification, right? Blue represents the bronze package that is already certified by Sustainable CT. That's 300 points. The next level up is things that we've submitted. The next level up are things that are complete but have not yet been uploaded to the platform. And the next thing is perspective. So these are things that are ongoing or ideas that we have but haven't yet accomplished. So where we stand right now is everything that's completed and submitted totals about 400 points, maybe a little bit more. And that is halfway from bronze to silver. And then there are a remaining 100-odd points of proposed tactics or actions. And you can see things here like the DEEP proposal, the SMM grant. If that goes through, that earns points for the town. There's a couple of actions that we may discuss here tonight. There's a statement on equity. So these are things that we're going to be turning our focus to in terms of actions that we will take. The good news is that if all of these things get completed, and if all of them get accepted, which is still question mark, we would have enough points to get to silver, which is the next level up in certification. Our initial hope was that we were going to submit by August. It doesn't look to me like we're going to make it to the silver level by August. So the next submitting deadline is in spring, and I propose that we make it our business to try to get everything ready for spring. And I've already gone through the process of submitting the tasks to the platform, just so it's locked in and ready to go. Any questions about what I just said? Comments?
I would just compliment you on the graphic. It's great to see where we are and where we are going. So thank you. Good job.
100% second that. It's a huge effort, obviously, has gone into not only creating a graphic, which is very attractive, but all of the little tiny granular steps.
Mhm.
It's nice to see the things that we've been doing reflected, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and most of these are community organized activities. The Sustainable Rocky Hill Book Club has been learning about pollinating species, native plants, composting, doing house tours of people's homes. The RHS composting program is huge. That alone is going to divert thousands of pounds of food waste that would otherwise end up in a landfill. And it's with Blue Earth composting. The town passed Complete Streets as a resolution, and that makes our community safer and paves the way for us to have roads for everybody. This is a phenomenal amount of effort, and I'm really proud of what we've accomplished in the time that we've been around as a task force. So, that being said, I want to go to the other subcommittee reports. And again, let's try to keep it brief. Updates should be actions taken, current status, and request for action. Action 1.3, equity statement. No update since our last meeting, except to say that the Commission on Innovation and Inclusion will be speaking in a, they are on the Town Council's agenda and will be providing a package of recommendations, among which is the equity statement. So once that happens, the Town Council will direct them to work on an equity statement, we believe. And at that point, Robert, Saima, and myself are on the working group to support CI and I. So no actions requested. We're still in a holding pattern waiting for that step to be met. 6.1.5, achieve bronze level status in the League of American Bicyclists.
No updates on this. I think it's going to take a bit of a heavy lift to get started, not least of which is a $25 application.
Okay.
Which I wasn't ready to shell out, and I'm happy to, but that was a kind of a pain point. But let's look at this as something that we could achieve fall, winter, spring. You know, I'm going to put this off, in other words. But I want to jump straight down to 6.5.2.
Okay.
Promote public transit and other mobility strategies. We did accomplish a educational bike ride on July the 1st with organized by Walk Bike Rocky Hill, where we had 11 participants. So it went 60 miles around Rocky Hill, demonstrating some areas that are safe for all levels and some areas that are not so safe for all levels. Levels meaning skilled and confident bike users.
Mm-hmm. Learned about safety in riding as a group, too.
We learned a couple things about riding as a group and how best to communicate with one another, and we'll put together something of a event recap, which is something I'm really happy to do. I do like when we have an event and you can kind of recap it into a Google document. Maybe that gets submitted in for the CT thing.
Absolutely it does.
So
yep.
Without any further ado, I could close. I don't need any actions on either of those.
Great.
I'll just say for 6.5.2, I know I'm not a part of the subcommittee we've set up, but I texted Derek about it. The Connecticut Democratic Socialists of America group is doing a campaign for fare-free buses. So that would just be getting people together in a coalition of different groups to think about strategies for implementing that and advocating for policy to do so. Of course, the DSA has a grassroots bottom-up approach, which is why they explained to them our task force. They thought it would be a good fit. So, you know, if we would like, we can be associated with that coalition for fare-free buses, which would fall under this. Although that's, at the moment, in the southwest New Haven, Fairfield County area of Connecticut is where they're focusing and where a lot of transit is. You know, I still think that there's clear benefit from having something like that up here. So, yeah.
Are they talking about fare-free statewide or fare-free regionally?
Fare-free regionally, but
Okay.
you know,
It's a good start.
It's a good start.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. Are there any actions that you think we should take? Or?
At this point, they're just getting organizationally who wants to be in the coalition, so no. But once I find out, I will let you know.
Okay. Keep us posted. And moving on, 7.7, implement a community energy campaign.
Yeah, okay, I guess I can give an update here. Here also kind of in the initial steps of what a community energy campaign might look like. In September, I want to say like September 15th or within the latter half or middle of September, there is going to be a march of which, what's the group? 350 Connecticut, and a number of other climate groups like the Sunrise Movement, which is broader. A bunch of groups are coming into coalition and marching to the UN headquarters in New York City to advocate for divestment or turning away from fossil fuels, implementing renewable energy. that's outside of our purview, being it's like a global scale thing, and the UN and in New York City, a number of these reasons why. But there is the opportunity to register an adjacent event, or if we cannot register one through the fossil fuels divestment broader coalition, to still hold our own event about the same thing. So Derek and I were brainstorming about having a public forum in Rocky Hill, because of course this would require action from our statewide, local, etc. leaders, in people from CT Greenbank, solar companies, etc. So how we can start initiating a community energy campaign. So we want to do a public forum with town officials, maybe get Matt and Carrie involved if they would like to. Ed, you connected us with someone who used to work with renewables at Eversource.
Tim Honan? Yeah.
Tim Honan. And Derek, you shared a contact from CT Greenbank. So with that amalgamation of people from within the policy side, the technology side, business side of things, we can get the ball rolling on that. So again, no action aside from getting everyone together and getting this public forum going and promoting it. But at this point, yeah, just in the organizational steps.
Yeah. So one question I have is, does anybody want to be part of the working group on this clean energy campaign? Like I certainly do. But if other people are passionate about it, I can be convinced to let others lead here.
I'd be involved as much as I could.
Okay.
Certainly interested in it.
I'm not opposed to it, but I kind of want to know what it entails before I say yes.
That's fair. I mean, I think the next steps for us are to propose a specific event that we want to do, and the agenda of this event and the outcomes. I think it might be a series of things, honestly. Like it might be, what have we done so far as a town? Where are we going? Where do we want to go? What actions can we take together? And within the Sustainable CT framework, there's work that can be done at the municipal level. There's work that can be done just at the residential level, encouraging people to adopt these solutions and say, hey, by the way, do you know you have the Green Bank as an asset? Do you know you have these solar companies?
So if you were wanting to know what was going on with this, you would go to Action 7.7 on the Sustainable CT website.
Yeah, that's
Are you aware of this Sustainable CT website?
SustainableCT.org.
SustainableCT.org.
And it's,
And they have actions, and then they list everything out.
Okay, so it's
So
not
he's
by
not
now.
just making up stuff out of the blue.
Yeah.
He's following.
Well, sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's a good learning curve for sure, because I think, I've been looking at this website for several months and I'm finally getting around to it, figuring out, it's sustainableCT.org.
Right.
You go to, we're talking about what?
Actions.
7.7.
Action 7.7.
You go into actions, you go into 7,
Right.
you go into point 7, and there is implementing a community energy campaign. That's going to give you some framework of what we're discussing here, and then I
Right.
think you're
Yeah.
going to get even more into
Right.
how this
Mhm.
community campaign will.
Okay, so it's like a general idea, but we need to scale it down to Rocky Hill kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So like they provide the template, and then we say, well, this is what it means for Rocky Hill. Like we're going to put solar panels on all municipal buildings.
These are like best sustainable
It
practices.
might mean,
That's what these are.
E-vehicle municipal fleet.
Charging.
and a couple
Yep.
other things.
Yep.
Does that include the e-bikes that I've seen promoted?
I think so. I mean, e-bikes fit under multiple things, right? Like there are different forms of transportation.
Yeah, well, you might be talking about Connecticut State, about this, state vouchers that they're offering. You can
Oh,
apply
the
for a
e-bike
voucher,
voucher.
you
Yep.
can get a $500 voucher. And if you're in a specific identified, I'm not gonna-
Environmental justice community.
Yes, I think it might be $1,500 voucher.
Yeah. Although the program was so popular that it's actually run out of money within 3 days. But that
There goes to show.
But yes, that fits within this, I think. So our next steps are to organize the exact event and then come back and try to start engaging the task force and the community around it. Moving on, 9.3, Enhanced Pollinator Pathways. The Sustainable Rocky Hill Book Club met again in July. We've been doing a thing where we're meeting at the houses of book club members and seeing how the materials that we've been learning about, what it looks like when they're applied towards gardens. So in this case, we went to a residence home. She has an apple orchard in her backyard, and it's kind of amazing, like life goals. We looked at a 3-bin composting system, also life goals. Her nascent pollinator, native wildflower garden. We talked about organic methods of gardening. It was really inspiring to see. And it's great because we were going to do that, and then next month everybody's going to come to my house, which is far less impressive. So,
Oh, see the base level.
yeah, you get to see what a starting art looks like, and I can show off the roadside wildflower garden that I convinced my HOA to do. So there'll be an ad for this, but
And I'm
stay
going to try to
tuned.
get my name on the short list of house tours.
You
I have some projects underway, they're not done yet, so not
Okay.
presentable yet.
We'll put you on the list.
Maybe in early late fall.
Derek, I'd like to just commend Susan and Wendell Coogan, because that was where you were.
It was.
And both of them have been
I know, I'm just asking what
leaders
the
in our
hours
community
they added
for
Just a second.
both of them have been leaders in our community for many, many years. They were one of the first to have solar panels on their house. And
Yes.
they have geothermal, they're way ahead of the curve. So thanks to Susan and Wendell.
It was an excellent learning from experience. We already talked about 9.4. Action 10.1.2, conduct a community food assessment.
Yeah, so I can give a brief update. I know, Ed, you said that you at some point wanted to take the initiative on this, so I will come to you as a resource once I get the ball rolling. But basically, yeah, the specific action item, which is, I believe, 10's more equitable and just food system, or something broader than that. Conduct a community food assessment would just be gathering data, a number of which is within like the U.S. Census data, relative income, amount of people in town. But then you have to get more data, so based off I think it's like 10 or 15 criteria provided in the framework in the document provided by Sustainable CT. So I went ahead and just drafted a community survey that would get some of that data. It goes all the way from simple questions like, do you have access to a private vehicle for grocery shopping? Do you know what your food purchasing options, your food retail options are in your community, and how to get there? And then it covers everything from grocery stores to food pantries and soup kitchens, and then tries to gather data in addition to what would be like the census of how many people are below the poverty level in the community. This survey would also be, how frequently do you visit farmers markets, or are you on any food incentive programs like SNAPs? So yeah, it just tries to be comprehensive in terms of food accessibility, knowledge, and where people get food in town. And then also I tried to tie it in with another action item, which is encourage community growing spaces to see, if we can educate people or further their food assistance, if perhaps they would like to, or we could, if there's interest in us somehow becoming involved with their own autonomy through a community food garden, in addition to that, the food pantry. So again, initial steps, but at least there's the survey down, and I think this will be a relatively easy action item, just in terms of getting the data, submitting the worksheet, and having Sustainable CT review it. So
What's the status of the survey?
it is made and not distributed.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we can distribute it as a next step.
Yeah, we want to make a motion to following. Everyone has reviewed the survey, or more or less has.
I'll make a note to be sure to review it. I can't say that I have or not, so I'll put that down as a no.
So what if I did this? So what if I circulate the survey to everyone again?
Good idea.
Individually reply to me so I have an idea if we have consensus. And then just trust me that if we do have consensus, or if there are any edits, send them to me individually. And then following that, make a motion to send it to, I'll send it to you, Derek, so we can promote the survey to community members.
Yep.
So that's my motion.
Okay.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Excellent. I'm excited for this. Anything with data. And then final action here, action 11, healthy, efficient, and diverse housing. Ed, you had action items around affordable housing?
Correct, yeah. I took the updated action 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, and I analyzed it, and the next thing I need to do is get into our affordable housing plan and sort of cross-reference it to the sustainable CT plan, so we're not duplicating ourselves. But an update would be that the town council is bringing to a public hearing in August the creation of an affordable housing committee.
Right.
I suspect that it will be created in August, and then the committee would need to be staffed, and evidently they're going to be asking for people to apply to get on the committee, because there's a certain amount of experience you need to have. So that is 11.1, and once we get that committee going, we'll earn 10 points. The other parts of the affordable housing action, two other items have been done. I did something a while back ago just to attain our baseline. There's something that's called the Connecticut Appeals List, and so what I did was you go to this list and you find the last 5 years of the percentage of affordable housing in Rocky Hill, and I included that in the packet. The state is asking that all towns are above 10% affordable housing. Rocky Hill is by the 2021 Affordable Housing Appeals List, we are at 5.13, but we get points for increasing by 0.25%. So we were in 2017, we were at 4.86. Now we're at 5.13. So we get a few points. We get 10 points for that. So there are some points that we are getting for affordable housing, but there are things that need to happen. Once the Affordable Housing Committee is created, they need to do some work. Town council can also do some work creating a special fund. And then lastly, the planning and zoning, 11.3, .1, .2, .3, .4, there's 4 actions that planning and zoning really is the only people that can do it. One is establishing a state-approved incentive housing zone. These are all things that would be part of our planning and zoning regulations. Another one is educate residents on accessory dwelling units. And in regards to the Fair Housing Act, allowing unrelated people to live in a single household pursuant to the municipality's maximum occupancy limitation. And in at least one residential zone, allow developers to get an increase in density if at least 20% of the proposed housing is affordable. So that is, if planning and zoning were to do all of those, that would be 65 points. Quite a lot, but I guess the only thing I would ask is, I did write to Kim Ritchie, our town planner, and my intent is to share this information with planning and zoning. I don't know if I need a motion to do that or not, but I would be representing this task force, and I know you, the chairperson, is really the person that is supposed to represent our task force in public meetings. So if somebody were to make a motion that you could designate me to go to P&Z, then that would.
As a subcommittee chair? Subcommittee chair, is that such a thing?
Sure.
Sure. Okay.
Does that sound?
I mean, I'm happy for that.
Sure.
So can I get a motion to that effect?
I have a question first.
Yeah.
Are these all
Well,
the
first we're gonna
buildings?
make a motion,
Oh.
then we could talk about.
Right, it's motion, second discussion.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will just
Yeah.
say as a quick point of order, not relating to this, at 6:25, I do have to put a hard stop. I'm as close to 6:30 as possible. The only problem with that is because we don't have another task member here. Once I leave, we'll no longer be
Be
a
a
quorum.
quorum,
So
yeah.
we should just, I'm sorry about that, that's on me, but I
No, it's
should
okay.
get through the next discussion
6:30.
of business soon.
Yeah.
If nobody wants the motion for Ed, I will make the motion.
Go ahead.
You make the motion, I'll second.
I'll make a motion to allow Ed to be the subcommittee chair of the affordable housing, to be the chair of the affordable housing subcommittee and therefore be able to present in front of the town council.
And I'll
And
second.
Planning and
at
zoning.
P&Z.
Excuse me. So to permit Ed to be the chair of the affordable housing subcommittee and present in front of planning and zoning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Discussion.
Oh,
Oh,
discussion.
discussion, yes. That's a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, are all these new affordable housing, are they gonna be completely new developments? Or are they,
Don't.
It's a
Well,
mix.
that's-
It can be new, and it can also be modifications of existing
oh,
developments.
okay.
Yeah, I think it just, there's a definition for what it means to be affordable, and
So as
whether
long as
it's
they
new
fit
or
that.
whether the price has changed.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can provide you more details.
Yeah, because whenever I hear zoning, I'm like, okay, is it new?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah, that's it.
Um,
Or just do that.
discussion and then vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for efficient updates. I will be very efficient with discussion of old business, and we'll conclude promptly. Website update. We have a website. If you go onto the Rocky Hill government website, we show up under the list of commissions and things of that nature. So that has task force members, a list of our meetings. It allows people to sign up to get notifications about Sustainable Rocky Hill Task Force events, which is great, and that progress chart that we talked about earlier. We also have an official Facebook page, which is run by the town. I do not maintain that, but what I can do is contact John Murphy and the help desk with any content that we want to publish on that Facebook page, and that's how it gets released. So,
Just if I can jump in for 1 second. Just yesterday afternoon, after that email came out from John about how to submit things through the IT help desk, the town manager asked if they could still go through me first.
okay.
So I guess send
So
it to
this-
me, and then I put it to the IT help
That
desk.
makes more
Sequence.
sense,
Yeah.
You.
I think the reason why he wanted to do that is just an extra level of oversight as it's going into the system in case there's something that might violate our social media policy. It's a chance to try to catch it before it gets out.
Very
so
good.
that it could come back and say, hey, can we modify it, or is there a different source, or whatever it is. That it's just, I think it's just an extra fail-safe in case one of us was
It's
to
understandable.
accidentally do something to violate the policy.
Can I make a suggestion that the graphic that we presented here is presented to this protocol to post on this official?
Yeah, that's a great idea. So we can
Whether
say
or not
officially
it's
where
that
we are.
graphics or one that maybe you're almost ready to add another chunk to it, or maybe.
Yeah, so I'll prepare something and submit it to you
This
guys.
would be a good way to
Okay.
start the very first post on the official. I think it explains, visualizing what we're doing to people in town is going to be a huge, otherwise we're just
Yeah.
this nebulous group of sustainable, you know.
And I'll push
Hippies and
those
a board.
through
Hippies and a board.
same day that they come to me. So-
Perfect, thank you.
Social media policy. There is a social media policy. It's part of our meeting package. I ask you all to review it. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, we need to be very clear when we're speaking on behalf of the task force and when we're speaking as individuals. And really, this is about me, since I'm technically the person who's supposed to represent the task force. So take a look at it. I think it'll be easy to sustain or to be in compliance.
Can I just jump in with one more thing? So, as I was just about to walk into this meeting, I just read through it again really quickly and noticed that under item 12, it makes reference to something that is not included in this packet. It should have been. Item 12, in the last sentence, it says, "See attachment, employee guidance for participating in social networking."
Mhm.
I did not see that in my personnel packet when I grabbed this, so I must have glanced over it, and I should have downloaded it and also included it in this packet. So I'm going to have to disseminate that out to you
Sure.
guys as soon as I can find it.
Can I ask that you send that out to the group at your
Absolutely.
earliest convenience?
Absolutely.
What, if we don't have time for this, we can table it till next, but how are we defining employees?
In this case, this policy also governs us because we are a town body.
Okay. Thanks.
Report to town council. I spoke in public session at a recent town council meeting and gave an update. I made a request, it still makes sense for us to be on the town council agenda so that they can actually ask us questions and see what we're up to, dig into the issues that we're diving into. And the mayor asked when that was happening. So formally requesting, Jason, if you can find time to talk to Ray about getting us on the agenda at some point.
Yes. In the last meeting, there was a little bit of talk of modifying the bylaws.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to make modifications, that should probably be done at the meeting. I would think that you'd want to have a motion to reopen them since you guys had voted to approve them.
Mhm.
I would say a vote to reopen, make modifications at the meeting, or approval of modifications that were made outside of the meeting but presented as part of the meeting packet.
So if
And
there
then
are,
I can send it on to him, if we wanted to do that before.
if
Or
there
I
are
can send it to him
recommendations
as
that they
it is.
have, as I
Yeah.
understand it,
Yeah.
the town manager has recommendations for changing the bylaws?
He,
or-
he may want to see a modification. From what I've learned, because this is all very new to me,
Yeah.
is that typically when a task force is created or a committee, the bylaws go to him for review, and then he may, in his much vaster experience than mine, may spot something. He may want to even pass it by our legal compliance expert, our HR director, Dana. They may want to look it over and see if there's something in there that's missing that should have been added, or if something should be modified. And then it may possibly come back to us so that you guys can make modifications. That's how I think it may go. But this is the first time I've done this, so
Right.
it's new. So I guess my question is there a change that you want to make before I pass it on to him, or should I pass it on to him as it was approved at this point?
We approved the bylaws. I think they are ready for his review and feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, this only came up with Sandy's resignation. We said it would be nice if we could reserve the right to have more than 7 task force members, because we went from 7 to 6, and I know that I thought, let's crack the table, let's have 9 if we wanted to, so that was part of my thinking on the bylaws, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it open in front of me.
Yeah.
I think it permits up to 7 task force members. And just to reiterate that point, I would love to know if we could expand that to another number.
So I
but
think
won't
the sequence
specify.
should be, we get feedback on the bylaws, we open it up for discussion. At that point, we revise, and then we put forward the revised bylaws to the town manager. So I agree, we can absolutely discuss this, but I don't want to open it up and then submit to him and then get more revisions again.
Okay.
One revision.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, and that covers the last item on here, which was the bylaws. And we have one last action item, and we can get out the door. And Robert, I appreciate your patience on this one. Okay, so as we've referenced a couple of times, Sandy Kelly submitted her resignation and is not part of the task force. The task force can have currently up to 7 members. Those members need to be appointed by the town council. We can recommend candidates to the town council, and in a recent session, we agreed that it would be nice to have representation from young people on the task force, even younger people. So we have,
Younger than us.
which is getting increasingly easier. So I have a candidate to put forward. I also asked other people if they want to put forward candidates to do so. The candidate I'd like to propose is Addison Meisterling. I believe I'm saying that name right. She is the president of the Rocky Hill High School Environmental Club. She's actually been at a number of our events where we've been present, including back in March, our visioning session, and she started the table or she staffed the table at the Green Expo. Among the things that she is passionate about are composting, recycling, and one of the big kudos to the Rocky Hill High School Environmental Club is that they helped to organize the composting campaign that's taking off in September. So I asked Addison if she would like to have her name put forward. She agreed. I submit this as a candidate to the group.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Addison Meisterling to the Rocky Hill Sustainable Task Force.
Second.
Discussion. And are there other candidates? I don't want to steamroll.
Well, should we, so, no, to answer your question, but should we also make a motion to have you draft a letter of support that we all sign on to, and then, so I'll make that motion in a moment.
So
and then-
you can make a friendly amendment to mine.
Okay.
Makes
So
sense.
would you?
So I would like to make a friendly amendment that we have Derek draft a letter of support for Addison, and that we all will sign on to it to submit to the town council.
That's accepted.
Okay, and then I'd like to make just another amendment, which is seeing that we are on the agenda for the next town council meeting, that this letter is brought up at that meeting.
Great.
Is
Yes.
that- Yeah, okay.
Correct. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Discussion. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Favor.
Favor. I'll get it one of these days, guys. Okay, so it's passed.
Fine.
All right, so that concludes all the business. The next time and date for our August meeting is August 24th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. in these chambers. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Thanks so much. Thank you, Derek. Thanks,
Hey, there
everybody.
we go.
Yes. Yeah.